Hey everybody, Brian here. So we have done a fairly detailed video on this one because this was the first Ioniq 6 that we got. So this is something called NLINE. So this video here, that'll run through the differences between kind of the new model version of Ioniq 6 and specifically some of the stuff you see on NLINE. Whereas this video, we're going to concentrate on the differences between, so some of you have asked in the comments on the NLINE video, and I was just waiting to get one into stock. We're going to look at the differences between Platinum, which is the higher specification in Ireland, and we're going to compare that to NLINE. So I know ideally I would love to have two white cars because it's easier, and unfortunately the white car is in the showroom. Hey, Sad. And yeah, the white car's in the showroom. So, but I'll try and kind of alternate with that. So, what we're going to do is we'll start off by looking at the differences on the outside, and then we'll look at the inside. And by the end of the video, then you'll have a better idea what the differences are between them. In terms of driving impressions and stuff like that, the first NLINE video is probably more suitable for that kind of stuff. So, anyway, bear with me. Let's start looking. I think, okay. At a glance, right, the first time I saw one of these Platinums in white, I kind of actually just thought it was an NLINE because there's a lot more black on the front. So just bear this in mind for a sec, right? I'm going to walk in and show you the white NLINE inside. So what we're trying to bear in mind is the section along the bumpers along here, a lot of black along here, the headlights and the daytime running lights and all that kind of stuff. So again, just looking at these two for a sec. So when we look at the white one inside, we'll see these are a lot more angular. This kind of lip comes out a lot further. So there's a bigger kind of mouth. Obviously, there's an N badge on the N line. But you know, at a really quick glance, besides this kind of brushed aluminium section here and here, it's not massively different. But let's compare that to the white one. So bearing in mind, this is the white Platinum. And this one here is the white N-line inside. So as you can see, the differences at a real glance, it's not totally gigantic. And actually, weirdly enough, when you look at the Platinum back outside here, one thing that kind of does stick out, which can be sporty sometimes, because it's got a glass roof, panoramic roof, that kind of looks kind of sporty as well. So not as gigantic a difference as I would have thought. I think, okay, maybe more from the angle over here. As you start to look across, you get the reflection of light along this section here. Whereas it's, you know, rather it being more sporty, it's kind of just different. Let's have a look though at the protrusion on the front of them. So when you look at this, you'll see this one has, you know, a nice kind of shape along here, whereas this one, the lip is much more pronounced and sharp. So I think that's probably, if we're looking at the differences between the two of them on the front, very much around here, here, and then this extra lip down along here on N-line. Versus Platinum. Right, let's have a look at the side. Okay, so the main differences are, as you see straight away, the wheels are different. Having said that, let's just be sure on this. You've got a 20-inch wheel and a 20-inch wheel. And again, the first time I saw a Platinum in white, just for a sec, I was kind of going, oh, okay, they must be the N-line wheels because they're pretty sporty. They're a similar size. So different style of wheel. Tire sizes, 245, 40, 20, and they are P0s. And then over here, we also have 235, 40, 20s, and again P0s as well, so Pirellis. Right, so different wheels, but same size. Like we already looked at the front, just the way the light is reflecting on those kind of brushed aluminium sections here and here is a bit different, and obviously the big lip we talked about as well. An N-line has an N-line badge over here. One thing actually maybe I did or didn't allude to it. N-line has a black badge here. Platinum has a silver badge. Same shape, quite flat, but just different colors. And then N-line obviously has an N-line badge in through there. So that's just something to be aware of as well. Lighting and all that kind of stuff at the front. The what I would have talked about in the other video, the intelligent LEDs, that's all standard stuff as well. So moving down the side, door mirrors, no chrome. Again, like we talked about already, probably the biggest thing over here is the glass roof. So I'm just going to move over to Platinum for a sec. So let's have a look at Platinum down the side profile. So things to note, brushed aluminium here. Down the side, black side skirt. I know it's because it's hard to see on the N-line. So black side skirt along there, black along the back of the bumper, but brushed aluminium coming up around here. So we're going to have a look at the back in a sec. So just bear that in mind because we're going to go inside and have a quick look at the other white N-line as a comparison. So just hold that in your mind. Okay, so now looking at N-line inside in white. So what we can see kind of straight away is the other one had a skirt that came up along here. So what I mean is, if you look, there was a skirt on the Platinum that went along like that. But the N-line has this section in here. So the section of black is much bigger along here. And then coming around onto the rear bumper. Brushed aluminium is more like what we saw on the front, the way you had this kind of section that sticks out here. This one here kind of comes down and back around like that, but not as obvious of a kind of color difference as I see on the Platinum model. While we're in here, actually, because I'm going to move around to the back of the other car that's outside, so I just want to show you. So like we're saying, this is the silver that I was talking about. This kind of brushed aluminium is much more obvious. The biggest thing I think on the back of these, because it's hard to see on the grey coloured N-line, so the biggest thing on the back of these is it's all black. I'll show you the lights better in a sec, but just having a look at this here for a sec, it's all black, which means this is black, the lights are a different shape. I think that's actually black on the other one, so no major difference, but this here and a lot of black going on there. Less noticeable on a dark coloured N-line, but on a light coloured N-line like this, extremely noticeable, and I think that's going to be Marmite. Either like it or don't like it. So let's compare that to the rear of this car here. I'm going to walk back out in a sec, don't worry, because I know this is pretty poor camera work. But see the way the lights are different, and there's much less black, so bearing that in mind, compared to that there, let's have a look at it. Okay, around onto the rear. So again, we're comparing, as we saw here already, you got this big black section on N-line, not so much on this one. This is more like the traditional previous model. So when we're looking at the back of these, like I was saying to you inside, you can really notice the black on a light color, but on a gray color like this, you just think it's all gray. So looking down the rear, we do have black on the bottom section of the spoiler. And I do think on a light colored N-line, like I was saying to you, some people are going to love that and some people are going to hate it. But one thing as well, you would think all they've done here is just those lights there and then they've covered over this section here. But when you actually look at it closely, those LEDs on the N-line are actually bigger compared to the ones on the left-hand side, which is Platinum. The Platinum actually lighting is pretty much identical or very similar. Well, not identical, but very similar to what was on the previous generation. Looking down the side, very much difference of shapes here again. This kind of fatter brushed aluminium section that comes out, whereas this one here, more angular and a little bit more aggressive, but darker as well. So let's look down the side and see which way kind of it protrudes a bit more. Do you know what? They're kind of comparable in terms of how they jut out. This one here probably is wider. This section here is wider. This one here, because it comes in, it's narrower. So the section that juts out is a little bit narrower, but not terribly dissimilar. Besides actually the black on the rear, not terribly dissimilar from that point of view. The spoilers are the exact same, but obviously the lighting here is different. So you got these little Ioniq6 embossed and then these little lights in through here, whereas this is more like the previous gen where the Ioniq6 is recessed in behind the glass or the plastic section along there, and then obviously a big long light bar along through there as well. Bumper is softer down through there, and then this kind of like a little lip that we saw on the front at the very, very bottom of the bumper. So at a glance, in terms of the differences between them, hopefully you're getting a good idea of what the differences are between N-line. N-line overall a little bit more aggressive looking than Platinum, but whether you like it or not, I think is very much dependent on the color of the car. Right, in terms of the boots and all that kind of stuff, pretty much no different. So would probably make sense if I unlocked it. One and oh, damn it. Okay. So anyway, we're going to go inside in a second, start having a look at the differences on the inside. So boots and all that kind of stuff, controls, they're pretty much identical. Sizes of the boot, all that kind of stuff, identical. Both these cars, same size battery. Here's a point of note, and someone may answer this in the comments. This car, being an N-line in Ireland with 20-inch wheels, has a 585 kilometre quoted range, whereas the Platinum has a 624 kilometre range. So, you know, a difference there of maybe 30, 40 kilometres. Realistically speaking, by the way, these cars are around 600 kilometres. We're seeing kind of 450, high 400s, early 500s in kind of, you know, not so warm weather, and then warmer weather, you know, 530, 540, 550. They're the real numbers we've been seeing on the previous generation with a 77 kilowatt hour battery, but with 18-inch wheels. So I kind of think it's not going to be terribly dissimilar. Anyway, before I forget, one other thing. Badge is dark, badge is light in terms of colouring. But yeah, in terms of the ranges, the N-Line in Ioniq is the same, slightly lower range. So the only thing that I can put it down to, and I don't have any official correspondence to this, because the battery is the same, technology levels, actually, if anything, that should be a heavier car, so it should technically have a slightly lower range. But I can only assume the aero on this car is less aerodynamically efficient. This does look smoother and rounder, so I'm assuming in real life this catches a little bit more wind or air, so maybe less efficient. So the N lines do seem to drop in range by maybe on Ioniq 5, I think they're rated for about 20 odd kilometers in the difference. On this one, it seems to be rated for about 35 odd. So just something to be aware of. N line, all ambient lighting in the rear, obviously. All the usual stuff: Isofix, electrics for windows, mirrors, child locks, armrests, USB-C connectors, half leather, red stitching. Um, this car is a white car, which means it has black leather. But if this car was like a dark coloured car, it would have a light grey leather. Some people would think that's like a beige, but really it's a light grey. So it looks really, really nice in my opinion. So one thing, or sorry, nothing really majorly different between besides the covering on the seat. Nothing really different. Rear heated seats, very, very similar colours. So nothing has really changed in there. So let's move up front. One thing I do see is there is a control for the passenger seat here, which is for either the driver or the rear passengers to create more space. Yeah, so that's not here. So even though that seat is electric, it doesn't have that independent control. Whereas over here, now there's pros and cons on this. Kids, once they get a hold of it, it's very hard to get them to stop using it. But I can manipulate and move the seat using this control if I was the driver or if I was a backseat passenger to make more space. Okay, so closing that. Right, moving up front, same kind of, scuff guard getting in, similar types of colours on the doors, so really nothing has changed from that point of view. Same controls for electric seats. But this one also has an extra button here, which was not on the passenger seat here. So this one's a relaxation seat on the Platinum, which is not on the driver's seat of N-Line. If you're not familiar with the relaxation seat, I'm going to show you that in a sec. This one does have N embossed there, and like what we saw already, half leather with red stitching, and the steering wheel is the N-Line steering wheel with red stitching. So again, I'm just going to show you that steering wheel real quick, and then we're going to move across over here, and this has the more traditional three-spoke type of steering wheel. Right, the relaxation seat, 1, 2, and the seat then just moves into a relaxation setup. So this comes up and the seat tilts back. So handy if you're sitting somewhere charging, whatever, just relaxing. And then to undo it, you use the same button again. And the passenger also gets the same treatment as well. So again, seating, like the way the kind of stitching is and the shapes and all that kind of stuff, they're pretty similar. But this one obviously is full leather with slightly different colours, no red. And then along the dash along here, it's all black, whereas on the N-Line, we see, even though I know that's only ambient lighting, you can have that on the Platinum as well, but this red section's always there on the N-Line. Okay, so speakers and all that kind of stuff you'd expect. However, when you move into Platinum, you're getting Bose, so it is an upgraded stereo system. All the controls over here are identical on both cars: parking brake, charging door usage, bringing in and out the door mirrors, controls for the shifter for moving backwards forwards. That's all the same stuff. Wipers are the same stuff. Lights are the same stuff. Controls on here, really, when you look at the steering wheel, Bluetooth and phone and all those kind of things. Driver controls like cruise control and lane keep assist all over here, with a drive mode button here for changing the drive modes that you're in. Whereas N-Line, exact same positioning of everything. However, the paddles here for regen braking, they're a little bit more aggressive looking. And then the drive mode button is like the boost button you get on the 650 horsepower N. Does the same thing, just looks kind of cool, that's all. But as you were saying, these paddles are a little bit of a different shape, but essentially the same functionality. So these paddles, as you can see, are a bit longer and fatter, that's all. Down here, they are plastic. This car's brand new, it's still getting set up, so I know it's a little bit dirty and stuff. Plastic black pedal covers, whereas these ones have more of a kind of checkered look. Down through the center, drinks holders, electrics for windows and mirrors and all that kind of stuff, USB, wireless charging, the controls for dual zone climate control. So that stuff is all identical. And looking over here then, it's all identical here except for I have more brushed aluminium along through there. So this is the exact same, turn off that indicator. That's all the exact same stuff in terms of controls, in terms of USB-C, in terms of heating, all the same stuff. I just have a little bit of silver or brushed aluminium along through there. Well, one point to note is V2L, so vehicle to load, where you can have an adapter. So you plug one side of the adapter into the charge port, and that means then you have access to 3-pin power. So this sits in the car. This means then you can plug basically anything, phone charger, electric lawnmower, whatever it is, that can be plugged into the charge port here. But the important thing here on this is on NLINE, I don't have the ability to use that adapter in here. Now, weirdly enough, I do have on NLINE, it's hard to see here, I do have a 3-pin plug. But according to the spec sheet, so I can use a 3-pin plug inside the vehicle, but I can't use that V2L adapter outside the vehicle. But on a Platinum, on the Platinum model, like this one here, I can use the external V2L, and I also have the 3-pin plug on the inside as well. So just a bit of an anomaly there. So lights and all that kind of stuff in the front, we were saying they're pretty much identical. So let's start looking at things like reverse camera. So it has like obviously park assist and all those kind of things as well. Right, so sorry, what am I doing here? So I do have a reverse camera with front mirror sensors, and then it's got a radar as to where the problem is. The difference on this one, however, is I've got blind view monitors, so left and right when I turn, because it's got 360 camera, and then the camera's a wee bit different. So up through here, I've got a remote parking ability, and then if I don't use that and I just use the cameras, I've got cameras looking forwards, I've got cameras looking backwards, and I've got the 360 version as well. Now it looks a bit not great because all the doors are open and the cameras are in the doors, so once the doors are closed that would look a bit better. To be fair, in here, this is all the exact same stuff. So both cars have the same operating software, same settings, same functionality in through there. So nothing really major changing in there. One thing I really like on this one is I can open out this if I just want more light coming into the car, or I can tilt the sunroof by pressing this upwards, and it tilts like an old school sunroof, like when I started driving, although these are a lot bigger sunroofs now. And I can open it out, so it'll come up and over. So that's got to be nice during the summer when it's warm. You get a nice evening, jump into your car, drive home, and you got a bit of sunlight and just general ambient noises from the environment coming around in the car. So actually, one other cool thing I just noticed. So just looking at the wheels on the N-Line, obviously they're lovely, but didn't realise actually just along here you got Ioniq6. It's a really noisy car along there. The other thing as well is Platinum. Sorry, just in case you're wondering, the cameras for the 360 are there and there, and obviously there's a rear one on the boot like the N-Line. There's a heads-up display on this one as well, which we don't have on N-Line. So to enable that, cluster heads-up display. So that's actually one small difference in the operating software. It has a heads-up display setting. Enable heads-up display. Sorry, it is there actually. What am I doing? Wipers, and then you can see in through there heads-up display. I'm kind of mixed on heads-up displays. Sometimes I find they get in my way. So if I'm on a back road and I'm trying to watch for potholes and stuff, I don't know, I just find them a bit distracting, but a lot of people love them. Oh yeah, one other big thing. The car, the N-Line, has heated seats, whereas this one has heated seats or cool seats. Cool seats are awesome because my wife is always freezing. So even in the summer, she'll have heated seat on and have the heater on, and I am dying a death because my daughter's the same. She wants heat, so I actually have to sit there in the pelting heat, but actually the cool seats do kind of help me. The other thing with these version, even though the seats are electric on the N-Line that we saw already, Platinum will have a memory seat. So obviously one driver can have number one and another driver can have number two. So You just get into your car and you press the button and the seat goes to where you would want that to be if you're driver number one. Oh yeah, so I forgot to say to you, so this, we're going back to V2L for a sec. The V2L adapter will come with the Platinum, but not the NLINE. Interior 3-pin sockets on both, but exterior usage of the adapter, only this guy here. The other thing then as well is, this one will have a digital key ability, which means you can use your phone to open the car and close it. This one doesn't. But the other thing is with that digital key, it means if you have like a company car, multiple people can have that car signed up to their phone to open the car and start it and use it. So that's kind of pretty useful. The other thing as well is this one, because it's got a 360 camera, it has this kind of collision warning. So what it's doing is it's looking for cars that are outside your visual field or right on the edge of the camera that you mightn't see. So it's kind of usually comes with 360 cameras, to be fair. Again, for more pragmatic information, I do have the other video which will go through a lot more of pragmatism about Ioniq 6 in general. This is really just Platinum versus NLINE, that's all. The keys are different, right? So this one's the NLINE, which is running at the moment. So the key on NLINE, lock the car, unlock the car, remote start, and open the boot. So they're the functions on this key. And at a glance, the Platinum key looks the same, but a bit more functionality on the side. So lock the car, unlock the car, start the car remotely. Okay, that's fine. So we can start the car remotely. I can open the boot, but I have two more buttons here, so it's part of the remote starting function. As you can see, then I can move the car forward, or I can move the car backwards from the key. You might think that's kind of pretty dumb, right? But I've been driving some of this stuff lately. Cars and parking spaces are turning into a bit of a problem. We have an Ioniq 9 and a Santa Fe, and the odd time I drive them on weekends, and trying to get my young one out of the back of the car is actually kind of not possible in some parking spaces. So yeah, I have to look like a prat, bringing my car out. But it looks like you're showing off, but I genuinely can't get into the car. So there is actually an element of usefulness and that kind of stuff as well. Anywho, and then to turn it off, obviously from the key as well or whatever. That is my guide of the difference between Platinum and NLINE on the Ioniq 6. If I've missed anything in the comments, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer. I hope for anyone buying one of these or just kind of investigating them, the video's been useful. But I think I covered most of it. But if I haven't, just let me know and I'll do my best to answer the questions. Anyway, thanks a million if you've watched all the way. Thanks a million. And chat to you soon.